Hey, what's going on, everybody? Peace and blessings. Michael Fireborn here. I am back with the second of 3 videos, and this series is on how to master your sexual energy. The last video we touched on my 8-year so far commitment to continence or abstinence, or what many people call celibacy. And we looked at not just celibacy, because that's not for everybody, but what I asked of you in the last video is to maybe take some time to look inside and see where you might have some blind spots, or maybe there's some things that you might be able to improve on. And then in the clear seeing of that, make some kind of a commitment or some kind of promise to yourself to actually step up to the plate and face those challenges and surrender whatever it is that's not serving you. This is a big ask, but what other reason are we here for as human beings? We're here to expand. We're here to realize our potential. We're here to make this world a better place through our own life, through our own example. As many of you know, as I've mentioned many times before, one of my first sexual encounters with a woman, I ended up contracting genital herpes, and that's been a whole big story throughout my life, dealing with this karmic predicament and working through the ups and downs of that and the emotions and hiding it from people and the whole gamut. And I'm sure many people out there can identify and relate to what I'm talking about. When we take the time to do a little introspection, we see there's some things we have to work on. And like I said, for me, it's that sexual energy and my relationship with that, and the dynamics of having genital herpes really plays into that, because shame is huge. When we talk about mastering our sexual energy, is what we're focusing on here today. This can actually be applied to any area of your life where you're looking to make some improvements. What I want to focus on today for this specific video, in relation to mastering your sexual energy, your environment versus your willpower. Oh, this one's huge. You can have all the wonderful fancies and dreams and aspirations of self-improvement and becoming a better person, and you can have all these wonderful goals, but if you're not putting yourself in an environment that supports that, eventually your environment is going to win out over your willpower. Your willpower can't stand against a consistent environment that doesn't support what you're actually working towards. I can remember, so many times in my younger years, in my 20s and into my 30s, where I was struggling with alcohol and drug addiction. Of course, at the time, I didn't see it as addiction. It was just life, And I can remember sometimes coming off of a crazy weekend or something like that, or a 3-night bender, being high up clubbing and just going day after day. And then come Monday or Tuesday, just being completely worn out and fed up and wanting to quit or change or something. And then I would jump in the shower and clean myself off and that was the last time. I'm not going to do that again. I bet there's a lot of people out there that know exactly what I'm talking about. So I get out that shower. I'm like, okay, I quit drinking. I'm not going to do no more drugs. I'm just going to, do my thing. But then would come, the next weekend or 2 weekends later, and I would be staying in touch with people on social media. At the time, I'm pretty sure it was MySpace, if you remember that. If it wasn't MySpace, it was Facebook, whatever. But I would stay in touch with these people messaging, on social media. And then through one way or another, I'd find an excuse to oh yeah, let's just meet up for dinner. And I would say to myself, I'm not going to have anything to drink or anything. And next thing you know, you're at dinner. Next thing you know, you're doing sake bombers. The next thing you know, you're out clubbing. The next thing you know, it was Friday and now it's Monday and you haven't slept. So your environment, which includes the people in your environment, which includes the spaces or the places that you're at, all of that is going to be influencing you. So the same can be said for the positive. after I decided to actually get serious and get sober and clean up my life and change my diet and adopt a meditation practice and get into yoga and start working out and have an active, fit lifestyle, I started hanging out and surrounding myself with people that were active, that were into spiritual things, that weren't into drinking. And when I surrounded myself with people like that, then I found myself being encouraged. I found myself being pushed on towards the things that I aspire to, which is to be, a balanced human being, which is to stay sober. So it goes both ways. Your environment will win out over your willpower. If you are feeling like you're lacking the willpower to make conscious, sober decisions for yourself, it's even more important that you surround yourself with people who are sober, who are doing positive things, who are uplifting, who have a spiritual practice. It's even more important at that time. If you have decided that you're going to work on yourself and you know where your shadows are, where your faults are, you know where your neuroses are, you know the things that you need to work on, pay very close attention to how your mind works and how those old patterns come up that get you to go from point A to point B to point C, the same old story. And so if we want to rewrite the programming, if we want to try some new things and get different results, then we have to pay very close attention to the mind, because your mind is just running all those old programs and it wants to make you feel good. It wants you to be happy, but it doesn't necessarily know right from wrong. It's just doing the old program. So you've got to reprogram that mind, and you've got to come to the realization that you are not your mind. You're seated behind the mind, who you really are, that higher self, that soul. And so the only way to get that space, to get that distance between yourself, who you really are, the seat of the soul, and the program that's running of your mind, which is a beautiful, beautiful gift that you have, your mind, in order to put some space behind that and be able to observe it and then make conscious decisions to navigate your life consciously, you've got to initiate a practice, a spiritual practice in your life that is going to allow you to have that space, to have that time. And that is what we call our yoga meditation practice. There has to be a sense of urgency, really, inside of you to start exploring, to start looking, to start seeking out, and to trust that spirit, the universe, is going to present someone or something, some book, something in your life that's going to lead you to what you're attracted to on your spiritual path, that is going to give you the tools that you need to actually be excited, to actually be consistent about your meditation practice. Again, like I always say, this is a spiritual science. You are the scientist. Your life is the experiment. And so embark on that experiment. And the beautiful thing, just like any other science practice, whether that's chemistry or biology, when you apply the experiment, you get the results, the same results each time. When you add red and blue, you get purple. So when you meditate, when you devote yourself with love and devotion to your practice, you get awake. You get the strength to let the things go that aren't serving you. You get a self-realization of who you really are. A spiritual science experiment that is solely up to you. But all the masters who have walked the planet and have left these great teachings for us have left the roadmap. They've left the formula for us to be able to actually begin the science experiment for ourselves, so that we can get the results we're after, which is self-realization, which is Christ consciousness, which is Krishna consciousness, which is awakening to the beauty, to the divinity that you truly are. May all beings everywhere take time today to explore, to get curious, and find a practice that is going to help them be consistent with their meditation and yoga practice so that they can have the strength of character, the strength of their mind, their balanced mind, to always surround themselves with good people, with positive environments, so that their willpower is actually supported, so that they can stay on the path that they're on, the spiritual path, to reach their destination of self-realization. May all beings everywhere take time each day for yoga meditation. My name is Michael Fireborn. I'm right here with you, and we have one more video coming up in this series, and stay tuned for that. If you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe, hit the like button, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you soon.